Sunday, dude.
Hey guys.
All right,
What am I supposed to do, Nick?
let's talk about
UNLV.
hosting UNLV, getting back home.
Okay, got to defend the dome. I mean, that's been a war cry for our guys all year long, which is defend the dome. And so for us, we're learning some things right now. I'll talk about us first before I talk about UNLV, but we got to tip the scales here offensively on what we're doing on our execution as far as scoring the basketball. I mean, it's going to be really hard to win games if you're shooting 37.5% from the field and you're giving up 50.7% from the field. You're shooting 24.4% from three and you're giving up 32.7, which is still like 32.7 is decent, but there's been a regression. And I said it at the post game after New Mexico. I think our guys, got a little bit of false confidence in the process of winning your non-conference, which is good. I mean, we're not going to discredit wins, but the idea of raising your level when it comes to league play, you have, everybody on a roster besides Mattia and Abu are coming up level and have never played in this league. And as much as you want to tell guys what it's like, experience is life's best teacher, and they've experienced Grand Canyon, they've experienced Air Force, and they've experienced New Mexico. All three vastly different, programs with different styles. But that's this league. I mean, that's this league every night. I mean, you watch Boise State and San Diego State and both give up 21-point leads at one point and have a triple overtime, game of the week. And then you're watching CSU, who's the number one offense in the country for a point, have a natural regression as well. So I think that happens. That happens. It's how are we going to adapt? Who are we going to be moving forward? And the bright spot for me today was, how I feel about practice. We had our most competitive practice of the year. I mean, guys were chippy, they were getting after it. I wanted some competitive resilience, some competitive intensity, best on best, and guys kind of just, shaking the tree a little bit. As you know me, I'm a fighter in the trenches, but I want to see some fight from some of these guys in these games. I want to see our guys leading the huddles, going into huddles with a look of, fire, and not ice. And I want guys to come out ready to go. And we played 3 halves in all of our games. Second half versus Grand Canyon, first half versus Air Force, and the first half versus New Mexico. We haven't put together a full 40 minutes. So that's our fight. Now, the good part of this, the relentlessly optimistic way of looking at this stuff is we want to be playing our best basketball in March, and we are not playing our best basketball right now, and that's a good thing, because if we were firing on all cylinders and losing, I'd be a little bit concerned. And we're nowhere close to what we've shown our capabilities to be. With that being said, UNLV comes in the house, who is a really good defensive disruptive team. They're probably one of the best teams, if not the best team in the league in turnover transition points, scoring in fast break points. I mean, in all their wins, they have over 23 points in transition. They have over 16 points off turnovers in transition. So they're a team that's going to force pace and tempo, try to speed you up. They are going to get after you. They're long, they're lanky. They got a lot of dudes from a lot of different places that, reminds you of those UNLV running rebel teams in the past that just get up and get down and get after you. So our guys better be able to handle the pressure, which we haven't shown the ability to handle, not even pressure sometimes in some of these games we play, and just giving the ball away to the opponent. And that's something that's been a little bit disheartening. So we've been on our guys. We've been in them a little bit just for taking care of the basketball, seeking the right shot profiles. Look, you guys know me. I'm fine if the process is right and we miss the great shots that we're taking, if there's great shots out there that we're getting and we're missing them, or if we're, executing our offense and something crazy happens, the defense really forces you into turnover and really speeds you up. But that just hasn't been the case so far. So we're still finding our best right now. We're still trying to change our best every day, and that's where we're at.
I know rebounding is probably going to be pretty important in this game. How's Mattia, and do you expect him to be back?
Yeah, I'm still waiting on some doctor report stuff here from Mattia today and with Jared. Don't have the final reports yet with that, but we're going to go forward like they're not going to be available, because if you're not practicing, for me, I'm just going to go forward like you're not ready. They could be day to day, they could be questionable, but for me right now, if you're not practicing, you didn't practice today, then we're going to have to see if you can do something tomorrow. We miss Mattia. People undervalue a guy like Mattia Velic, and I don't. That's why he starts first way. He plays minutes, he does. He gets 9 rebounds. He's big, he's physical. He's going to come up with the two-handed rebound. He's not going to put one hand on it and lose it. He knows what to do. He's going to go get the two-handed rebound. He's going to be a physical guy that can switch on bigger dudes. And to me, like that's where Adam has to step up. Adam played 32 minutes and got 1 rebound. I called him up, man, like, you got to be better than that. You can't play 32 minutes and go get 1 rebound at the 4 spot in the Mountain West. Our guards have to rebound down and do a better job. I called Caden out. Caden's got to be better. He's supposed to be one of our tougher guys, if not our toughest. He's got to go rebound. He's got to go finish. And so, Leland Walker's our starting point guard. He's PG1. You can't have 6 turnovers in the second half. You've got to be better. So I said at post game, you got to be at your best when your best is needed. And these guys are all, I don't stop coaching now. We got to get better. We're probably one of the few teams in the world that still practice. We have a great practice. We still practice hard. And got to practice hard to fix the mistakes that you're doing in games. You can't just go out there 5-0 and think it's magically going to happen. We're going to practice until we get it right.
Coach, 11th in defense. You mentioned the field goal percentage you're allowing. Where are the failures right now? I would ask. Yeah.
Where aren't the failures? Okay, it's just beyond like the thing against New Mexico is we gave up 17 offensive rebounds. It hasn't happened all year long. We're supposed to have a scalable advantage on the defensive rebounding and the O boards, and I think a lot of that, large in part, is we were playing Jared Harris in this league. Jared Harris is a good rebounder. He got 6 rebounds or 5 rebounds before 3 offensive at Air Force. Like, he's long and lanky. He's a Mountain West sized wing. Matia's a Mountain West forward. I mean, that's 10 rebounds right there on the defensive side of the ball if you play those guys. And so that's where guys got to step up. So one, you got to do a better job, not giving teams second chance points. Tomislav had a great game at New Mexico, but large in part we gave him 10 points off offensive rebounds. We just got guys bullied guys. That's number one. The Mountain West is a big boy league. So our little guards have to be way more scrappy and way more physical, and our bigger undersized guys have to play like they're big. And you don't have to have size to be effective. I've coached a lot of basketball, been around a lot of teams. You don't have to be the biggest team to be effective, but you got to be tough. You got to be tough, and you got to be scrappy, and you got to be willing to put your nose in the fight every single second. And that's where I think we're lacking in that. Now, hats off to Grand Canyon for dominating us in the paint, and for New Mexico, to big guy to go out there. I mean, when you let big guys dominate you in the paint and you let guards go get threes, I mean, that's not a recipe for success. So we're just not good right now. We're not good, and I'm not happy about it. So we fix it in practice, and we got to go play a game and see if it gets better. But I mean, we're not the only team in the country that's having a regression right now. We're not the only team in this league that's having a regression right now. And so for me, we just got to be better. We got to be better.
82 3-point attempts for you guys in the last 3 games. Is that a number that you like, or?
No, I'd like us to shoot more threes. We're shooting way too many non-paint twos and terrible shot profile shots, and they're not high percentage shots, and we preach it all the time. But until our guards understand, in this league, they want you to shoot those shots. Yeah. I'd rather have guys take step back Bobby Jack 3-pointers with 2 seconds on the clock than go in there and try to raise up at 15 feet over 7-footers in the lane. Because one, your offensive rebounding percentage goes up just based on the distance of the rebound coming off the rim. Usually rebounds half the distance, so you got a better chance to pursue offensive rebounds. 2, if you're shooting 15-footers, right, the value of the shot is lower. Yeah. So, I mean, I think we did the numbers. Leland Walker made 20 non-paint twos at Florida Atlantic last year. That's 40 points. And he made 31 threes. So you do the math, right? That's 93, yeah. Right? That's a 53-point difference in 11 shots. That's the math, right? And so when our guys are shooting tough twos instead of taking threes, you could shoot. He shot 34% from 2 and 28% from 3 at Florida Atlantic, and on a 28% shot, he garnered 53 more points. Think about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the math, and that's what our guys are like. You want to shoot bad shots, shoot a bad shot that has more value, that has a higher value. This is the analytics that we're talking about. The analytics side of us, we got to sit our butts down and guard. Let's sit our butts down and guard. And we didn't foul in New Mexico, but we sure crap didn't guard anybody. We didn't guard anybody down there. Now they hit some tough ones. I'll give Jake Hall a little bit of credit right there. They hit some tough ones, but we just can't. We can't let everybody have a party. We can't be the hospital where sick teams come to get well. Okay. It's not a good look right now for us. And I told our guys, like, we got to respond here against UNLV.
What does a Josh Pastner team look like as he starts a new program at UNLV?
Well, one, I like how Josh Pastner dresses. Okay, so I respect the fact that he's wearing a suit and tie. I like that. I mean, we're gonna have a we're have a suit off first, all right? So both of us are gonna have nice suits on. I respect that. I respect the fact that he respects the game, and I'm not saying guys don't, just the game has changed. Nobody wears suits and ties anymore, and he does. I like that. Big fan of how he dresses, right? And we're in a big time business and professionalism. You show up and you honor the people that came before you. I like that stuff. His teams play hard. He's got great energy. He's got great juice. So his teams mimic that as well. I mean, they're upping you. They're going to press you at full court. They're going to try to turn you over. They are long and they are lanky. He's going to play big guys and he's going to bully ball you, right? And so there's an element right there where we're going to have to show that we can be tough enough to defend the physical nature of which they play with.
Coach, how do you get more from Demarion and Caden Bennett? I'm just curious. Yeah.
You got the answers for me? You got, guys, I'm telling these guys, man, coaches can only do so much. At the end of the day, players got to go out there and play. We put you in position to be successful. KB missed 3 point-blank layups last game. And those are big buckets, right? Like Dennis I told you Dennis was one of the most efficient guys in the transfer portal last year, but you got it. I'd rather Dennis shoot a bunch of rhythm threes than pull up twos. And that's kind of the give and take right now is guys want to shoot their own shots. Well, they're not having the success that they think they should have. Well, we have a shot diet for you. We have a diet for you that makes sense. And so when we were playing like that in a non-conference, also guys came back from Christmas, we weren't right. Guys started doing things that I hadn't seen us do before. And today was the first day where I felt we competed like we competed before Christmas. That's a big deal. And so next year, I might not have Christmas break next year. The guys are going to go back and they're going to get a bunch of stuff in their head from other people and come back different. Like I'm not a big fan of that. And so we got to buckle down and get back to the basics and get back to like what makes us us. And that's our process and our program. And if you're fighting it, when you're fighting the process, you will not have success. You'll always be conflicted. So I don't think there's some crazy mathematical equation. I think it's a lot more psychological than it is physical. I think it's a lot more mental than it is being able to go play the game of basketball on the court. Like you're thinking about the wrong things are going to happen. You're doing something that's not right with our program. And this isn't a culture issue off the floor. This is guys on the floor deciding to do things differently than we had in the past. And to that point, as a coach, if you're not going to do it, then I have to make the decision for you. And I got to say, I got to start putting restrictions on you, or I just don't play you. And right now, being dinged up, I don't have a lot of options right now. Yeah. Went from 12, and now we're slowly trimming by default here. So if you got answers, Anthony, please enlighten me.
Who was the catalyst for today's practices, or was everyone locked in?
Well, the first thing that happened in today's practice, which was awesome, is I always do the brown and gold team. I divvy them up, and Nas says, "I'm going gold, Dennis go brown." So Nas on the brown team. Nas goes, "No, I want to raise the level of the gold team, so I'm going to go gold." Move Dennis to brown, and then Leland and Nas started getting after each other. And I called the guys up after the game. I said, we need more guys who will go at each other in practice and make the practices feel like a freaking game, intensely competitive. I mean, contrary to popular opinion, people do talk to each other on the floor. They kind of go at each other. There's a little trash talking that still happens in the game of basketball. This isn't just some sort of civilian pancake party. People go at each other, and so Nas and Leland are going at each other, talking about this is my game. You have to do a little more. It's kind of fun for me. I get to sit back there and watch guys raise the level, and you need that. You need that mid-season. I'm looking for some alpha dogs. I need some alpha leaders out there. So Nas and Leland both decided to raise the level of practice today, and then everybody else kind of followed suit. And so that is nice when a freshman, and a senior, at some point a senior passes the torch to a younger guy. That's what you want. You want to see those guys go at it.
On offense, are you moving the ball as well as you'd like to see right now?
I mean, we still have a pretty good assist rate right now. Just our turnovers are ill-advised. They're just bad passes.
Yeah.
They're just bad reads. I charted every single pass we had against New Mexico. We're still floating around 300 passes. You want to get around 300 passes in a game. We're moving it. It's just we're having one-pass possessions. So we're going to have a 9-pass possession and 1-pass possession. I'd rather be floating around 4 to 6 to 7 versus 9 and 1. You just can't have a 1-pass possession and think that's going to be good offense. And that's guys deciding to do their own thing or go off script. And so the flow is fine. Guys are moving it. see it, it's there. It's just a matter of, I think, like there's always a natural regression before progression. Guys come into a league, they feel it. Like you just don't want guys to have a string of bad games in a row. Like you can have a bad game, you can have a bad night, but you don't want to play bad night after night after night. If that's the case, like we got to do a better job in the offseason developing these guys and getting them ready. But these guys have never felt it. To that point, I will give them a little bit of grace. You know, we weren't the team that went out there and got a bunch of guys from high major leagues or, you know, got a guy from in conference to go transfer in conference. We got guys from Division II, from JUCO ranks, from lower levels. You know, Leland was from a one-bid league. This is a multi-bid league. It's a big-time league. And we added a big-time team in Grand Canyon. So it sure as crap didn't get any easier. And so these guys got to get tougher. Don't ask for a lighter load, man. Pray for the strength to carry it. Multiverse, questions?
Coach, obviously not the way the team wanted to start out in conference play. Other than Leland and Nas, is there anybody else that's really, mad about this, really lighting it up in practice, getting on the rest of the team?
Well, I wouldn't say not the way we wanted to start. I mean, I think if you're looking at Grand Canyon in New Mexico versus where we were, like that's kind of what probably should have happened, for the pundits. You win a game you're supposed to win versus Air Force. So, I mean, we're kind of right where we're supposed to be. We're just, the process doesn't look very good right now. So, statistically, we could be the worst team in the league for the first 3 games. And then all of a sudden, we light it up here and the progression happens and people are like, well, man, the folks are playing a lot better. I'd rather be playing a lot worse and playing a lot better versus playing a lot better and all of a sudden playing a lot worse towards the end of the year. That's just me personally. But, there does have to be some player-led ownership here, and I think today we got a little bit of that. Now, anybody can do it for a day. Like, are you going? How do you? For Leland, how do you want to be remembered as a senior? In a program, you don't. It's your last run. Matthias, your last run. Keone Saxon's your last run. How do you want? What are you willing to do to get what you want? And I think it requires more sacrifice. It requires more competitive resilience. It requires guys starting to put their heels in the sand and say, "Don't cross this line." And I'm waiting to see if we're going to do that against UNLV.
Coach, was that New Mexico game a bit of a wake-up for you guys? Seeing how many of those offensive rebounds came down, and did it really open their eyes and say, "Oh man, this is the real deal, and I got to keep going"?
We played 2 freshmen and a sophomore at the 5 spot in that game. So I'm not sure it's a wake-up call as much as these are freshmen getting initiated. Well, everybody else can go out there and get seniors and big, transfer bigs that are juniors. We're developing freshmen as we go. Gavin Gore's played a really good game for a freshman. Yeah, he's outmatched right now by a 23-year-old freshman. He's outmatched by that guy, and it should be the case. As a freshman, I got my ass kicked. I remember Scott and Chad Coonan from Southwest Minnesota State demoralized me. They were 6'9", 240, 6'9", 6'8", 225. I'm a 6'5", 4-man weighing 180 pounds. I got my ever-loving butt whipped. And is it a wake-up call? It's always a wake-up call if you get your butt kicked. But it's also part of the process, right? And so the development side of this is, the good part is we got young guys that are going through it. Like Nas and Gavin, for freshmen in the pit, played pretty dang well. I mean, that's a narrative I would write. How many freshmen go into the pit and actually play like they belong? Those 2 guys played like they belonged in the pit. Those are 2 high-level freshmen, man, that were not scared of the moment. For me, I'm more worried about the guys that are older, that have been in the battles, that went down there and, didn't do the job. Like, that's what concerns me, is like, how have you been in college and played at a high level or been in Elite Eights or in bigger leagues, than these freshmen, and you're not out there doing the job? That's what concerns me. And so the wake-up call has got to be for the older guys. I expect freshmen and I expect sophomores to struggle. I've always expected that. I said you can never rely on freshmen to carry your team. It's just they're too inconsistent. And right now, our freshmen are more consistent than some of our older guys. And so that scale's got a tip for us, because that's my issue right now with the locker room. And so today, when I saw some of the older guys step up, you know what? Nas is a fantastic freshman. You know why? Because I've told you this time and time again. Not because he's a good basketball player, because he's extremely mature. he's older than his age. He acts older than his age. That to me matters when it comes to, race to maturity. Race to maturity. You can be 24 and act like a 19-year-old. You can be 19 and act like a 24-year-old. Which one do you want to be? Or big, I guess to your point, Brian, like to our bigs, like, look, we're going to be outmatched every night. So like wake up call there's wake up call number one, Grand Canyon, they're huge. And we played Silliahowski and Caleb Walker at Air Force, they're huge. We go down to New Mexico, JT Rock and they're huge. We're coming into UNLV, they're huge. I mean, every single one of their guys, their wings are bigger than our 5 men. All right, so like we're gonna have to find a way to be the team that's like underappreciated, undervalued, under scouted, and just tougher and twisted cougar crap boiled in owl piss.
Can you kind of talk about Gavin Boers? What do you see in him? And obviously he's kind of raw. I mean, he's a freshman. Where do you see him progressing into in the future?
Well, for most freshmen, you just try to narrow their focus so they can enhance their performance. Try to have role clarity. We want Gavin to be a really good 5-man that can roll, finish at the rim, play in the short roll, see the next, and then pick and pop when it gets late clock. And if you look at the summer, the gain, not the gap. Like everybody focus on the gap. I love this book, The Gap and the Gain. Jason Vickery gave it to me. Like if you're always worried about the gap, which is the next thing that you're never going to get, you got to start looking at the gains a guy's had. And since he got here in the summer till now, Gavin has grown exponentially, right? Because he's an everyday dude. He's always working. He's in the gym. He was the first guy on campus before everybody else this summer. And usually freshmen burn out by now. And he's still getting better and better and better. He's taking coaching better. He's handling it better. And to me, like that's the mark of a kid who's going to be really good, is that he just shows up every day, regardless of the circumstances, regardless. And he's a tough kid. He fights through sickness. He doesn't complain. He doesn't moan. He doesn't whine. He doesn't make excuses. He just gets in there and does the job. And he's going to have good games. He's going to have bad games. But at the end of the day, he's on a natural freshman curve right here. Regression, progression, regression, progression. And Nas has been like regression, progression, regression. Nas is on a crazy freshman curve, but Gavin is on a natural freshman curve, which really excites me about his potential in the future. Because when a guy grows consistently through the ups and downs, that's going to be a really good player.
Good.
Anything else?